Hello there guys, my name is Jay or DA and welcome back to some Empyrion Galactic Survival. Now I was kindly given access to the alpha build of Empyrion and it's basically releasing this Friday if you haven't already seen the trailer, and they've added quite a lot of new mechanics as well as improving on the old mechanics and made the game a bit more meaty, if that makes sense. So they've added a lot more to the bones and it does feel like more of a game that you can play for long stints of time and not particularly get too bored of, especially if you are accustomed to all of the features in Space Engineers. So, without further ado, I think we'll get into it. So you're just going to go a new game, I think, and we're just going to start off on a world, let's call it Xenon 225 or something, and go set. We're going to go into survival, so we're going to start off in a completely new survival world. We're then going to do a random seed of whatever. I like big numbers, so we're going to, yeah, let's go with that. You have two start locations. You have Omicron, which is a lot harder to play as it's a desert planet. So it's very, very horrible and hard and nasty and everything's out to kill you. Then you have Akua, which has got a very nice climate. There's a lot of trees and it is a very, very nice location to start off in, and I would seriously suggest you guys starting in that location first. So let's move on to the game. Okay, so you do start off falling in this drop pod of sorts into the world, and we're gonna crash down by water, not in it, by it. Now to jump out, just hit T and you will jump out and it will give you some sort of achievements. So we've got chapter 1 survival base camp was auto activated, so we have a lot of things to check out. Now, we have actually spawned in like the perfect location for me anyway. We spawned right next to a water location, so we can get access to water when we get a water machine. And we also have an O2 machine as well as having promethium, iron, more promethium, and magnesium over there. So we have quite a lot of resources around us already that are going to be very, very useful to us. So just access this. This now becomes an inventory. It becomes one big container, so you cannot jump back into it no matter what you do. So we're just going to get all of our tools out. We're going to put them in the order that we tend to use the most. I tend to use the flattener last, and then the drill and the light as well as the gun pretty much instantaneously. So what we're first going to do is we're going to get this thing called the core. Now this core, this survival constructor, sorry, allows us, it looks like a reactor core, but this allows us to build stuff as well as get this O2 generator, which allows us to generate oxygen, as it states. You do get a lot of other things like a work light, which is beneficial to put down next to these two things so you can always see them at night, or at least know pretty much where you are. Also, I've found grabbing all the materials that I use for crafting is beneficial to put them into the crafting machine. So you'll get quite a bit of cobalt, iron, silicon and copper. This is just a very good number to start off with, as well as some magnesium and some promethium, which is useful for fuel. So we're going to need the fuel pack, which is going to give us power to a lot of things. We're just going to put all this stuff in here, keep all this stuff in here. Oxygen bottles we're gonna put into the oxygen generator because again it's not something we're gonna use that much. Now there's a new thing in the game which I never saw ever before, so it's new to me anyway, and this is called the chainsaw. This just allows you to chop down trees fairly effectively and actually gather the wood from them. So I'm guessing you can use that wood to generate some sort of fuel from it, which would be really, really sweet. You also get a growing pot and a plant growing light, so you can use that when you start to build a base and actually you know, begin to farm and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different elements in this from other games like Minecraft and all that other gubbins. So what we're going to do is we're going to place down this O2 generator next to a water environment. As long as the one half's on the water, it will actually generate O2. And then we've also got this this cool little, again, it looks like a reactor, but it isn't. And I tend to stick them in this orientation for some weird reason. Now, I'm also going to set up my light because I want to make sure I can see at night, and the rotation mechanic on this is so awkward at times, I must admit. What we're going to do is do that. I think it's you select the way you wish to orientate. Yeah, there we go. So you select the way you wish to orientate it, and then it will orientate along those. So there we go. So we're beaming light onto this thing now so we can actually see everything properly. Now what we're going to do is we're simply going to drop all of our resources into here. O2 bottles I don't think are required, but I think we can probably use them to make some small O2 canisters, because these are more beneficial for us at the moment when we go swimming and whatnot. You'll also find it beneficial on this planet to hit U, which takes your helmet off, so you don't use your oxygen in your suit. It's a lot better. I've gone through and used up all my oxygen before, and it's just frustrating to say the least. We don't appear to be producing anything. Whether we need to turn it on. That's a good start. So just turn it on, it will begin to generate whatever you need. So we're just going to generate those small oxygen canisters, which I think we get some anyway. Yeah, we do, but I always like to have a few more just in case anything happens. Now, we've got all this set up. We are pretty good for now. But the next thing you really want to do is take your core and drop it in here. Everything that's in this inventory will be allowed to use for crafting purposes. So what we're going to do now is build a base starter. So this is the block that you can start your base from, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to select that to build as well once these oxygen canisters are done. And then we can begin to move on with building. Now, while everything's doing, we can get the flatten tool, which basically just allows us to flatten out land very, very quickly. And this just enables you to get some sort of, relatively sensible land to work on, rather than working on some janky, old, really bumpy and crooked land, because it can be quite a nuisance finding the perfect spot for building on. So I tend to use this. You can make more canisters, because the canisters you have in your inventory are charges. So once the charges run out, once your ammo depletes in the bottom right hand corner, you then have to switch to your next canister, which can be a bit of an issue, but it's not really much of an issue if you use it wisely and not use it stupidly like I've seen other people do in the past. So we flatten that out now. Now, once you flatten it out, it does give you appropriate ground to place a block onto. So hopefully we've got our core done by now. It's halfway to building. We've got our oxygen canisters as well, which we can actually take. I think we'll take all of this now. So now we've got all of that, we get another achievement and it dings. I like to use that drop pod as much as possible for inventory, but I'll just keep everything in one inventory to make it a lot simpler for you guys. So just going to drop all this in here with our O2 canisters, which only can be stacked in stacks of 5 apparently. I'll keep all this stuff as well in your inventory, preferably, because this stuff will keep you alive, because you do have food and stamina and health to look after as well. So those will help you fix yourself up if you ever hurt yourself. So now we've got our base starter. What we can do is we can wander over with it and place it literally anywhere you want. So I'm going to basically butt it up against this right here, and that allows me to expand forwards with the actual base. Now what we're going to need are, of course, lights. Well, not lights. Lights as well as... Why am I saying lights? I'm such a moron. Okay, so what we're going to need next are steel blocks. So what you're going to need to do is get some metal plates, which if you hit shift, you will produce 10 at a time. Bear in mind, one of these is 10, so every one you put in the construction queue is 10 physical items. So you can really get away with probably doing 5. So what you can do is turn this off, and you just left click, and it literally depletes them by 1, or you can do it with a shift click again. So I'm just going to do... I'm probably going to do another 3, to be honest. So we'll have 40 overall, and we can get a fair few blocks with that to hopefully expand our base and make it really cool and interesting. So once these are all done, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 40, so that's 20 blocks in it. Yeah, it's 2 each. It takes 2 metal plates to produce 1. And thankfully these things build quite quickly, so we can leave that for a little bit, come back and have a gander. Now, the chainsaw. Don't hurt these guys will flip out and try to kill you. These guys are completely friendly, and they look vicious and janky, but they're harmless, honestly. Just make sure they don't walk into your chainsaw. If you walk over to one of these trees, you just really loudly cut this down. Once you cut down the tree, you'll get some logs appear, which you can then pick up, and everything's happy and dandy. I think you can do it with these trees as well. Let's give it a go. There we go. Where's my logs? Now, please bear in mind the chainsaw does have fuel, and it does run on biofuel, which you don't have a lot of to start off with. You have 1 tank. So use it very, very wisely, because I may have ran out the first time I played through this alpha. And I was like, how do I make more? And I said, screw it, I'll start again. So, now we have our blocks. It's just a simple case of walking up to this block, and everything can be attached to this. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to drop these on, make it so that it looks nice against the land, like so, and then probably bring it out 1 more then. And then we instantly have somewhere to sort of walk around on that's lovely and flat, and we have a lovely view outside. Look at that, it's just gorgeous. So now we need 1, 2, we need 3 more blocks for that, and then that's done. Now, just as some wise words, build your bases quite big. Don't be afraid of creating them quite big, because you will need quite a hefty amount of space for some of the machines that you're going to be building, and that's something to always take into account. I mean, I did not do that when I first ever started building the base on Empyrion, and I really regretted it, because this will become, you know, one of the machines, then the other machine, then you're only left with half a space. And there are some personal blocks you can add, like beds and chairs and stuff like that, which will be really, really nifty, really, really cool to check out once they're, you know, once we get to that stage. So I did actually just notice we may have forgot to build 1 extra plate, so we may be a bit short for that last item. But there we go. So once you actually place your base down, it comes up and says base, which is quite cool. Which kind of looks like a panel from the Millennium Falcon, to be honest. All the pipework and all the bits and bobs in there, and that is basically like the heart of your base. So you know, it's an important feature, and again, everything builds off of that. So it is a very, very critical component to anything you're going to build. Right. So, now that we're slowly getting all these components, we are going to start to work through the skills list, as I'm calling it, which is the tech tree, as it's known on this. Now, what you get is you get unlock points. Certain things require so many unlock points. I believe if you actually acquire these, it will open up the next one and allow you to get it, but I'm still unsure on how this works properly. Now, I am a level 2 currently, and I don't know how this actually levels up, but I think it's to do with how much stuff I build as well as maybe kills. I don't know. I know other games use skills, that sort of stuff. Oh, cool. So we have docking station, docking pads now. I never saw that before. We got like a massive misc section. Jeez Louise. Cargo boxes. Oh, okay, so we can actually unlock the blue ones. That's cool. So we can unlock this. So if we just hit 2, we unlock that. We can unlock an O2 generator if we want, but I don't believe we need it yet. It's not something that's very valuable to us at the moment. We've got one, so why we need a second one, I don't know. we're also going to need to produce a generator. So this will generate power for us, which can be used on the base. We have O2 tanks and a fuel tank. So if we unlock this and unlock this, there we go. And we have 2 left, so I don't know what else to go for if we want to go for anything. Maybe leave those 2 just in case. So if we just leave those 2 just in case. So now we should be able to build. There we go. So we've got the small fuel tank. Now I believe these were already in, but we've now unlocked it somewhere else. I don't know how. I'm actually not really sure on how that works on the tech tree. But either way, we have factions as well. So if you do come across any kind of faction, you can actually create your own faction if you want. So I can call us DA Army and set it, and the faction abbreviation will be DA. And there we go. So we have a faction. Easier than said than done. Then we have a PDA, which just tells us on what to do, and I believe once we start moving through these, it will give us some sort of rewards, hopefully. Add crafting materials, add fuel pack templates, start production. Place survival constructor. You've already done that. Right, okay. So you've already done that. But I don't know. We've already placed that as well, so maybe if we power the O2 generator we can spark up another achievement. In fact, we've actually got one of these in here. So if we were to drop this into here even, this will now start to produce us. Now notice it says the source quality is 80% because certain sources can be lower or higher, meaning that they produce a lot quicker. So here it says operational time is 23 seconds. If you were to get a better source quality, you know, you'll get, I think you get a bit more from it. But either way, that's as good as really can be at the moment, I think. We've got one O2 bottle there. Right then, so what is next? Next really is to just build things we think we're gonna need. So if can I crouch at all? I've still got my helmet on. Crouch X. See, ooh. What did that do? Oh, I threw them on the floor. Okay, that was weird. Weird and very scary. Just don't press that button. Whatever that was. I think that was Z or X. Right, so there we go. We got a nice area. I think that's quite nice. Now what we need to do is really work on some sort of other device, like a small generator, or a tank, or something of these sorts. So if we get a small fuel tank for now, and then you guys can hopefully get a gist on how the hell things work in this, and then hopefully when we come back we can start to improve on all this. So just as a tip for the crafting, each kind of ship has its own abbreviation, which does say in the placeable section what it can be used on. So you've got BA, which is base, CV, which is like the hover vehicles, I think, SV is like a small spacecraft, and HV is like a oh no, CV is capital vessel. You got small vessel and like huge vessel or whatever it is, or heavy. I don't know. So basically you've got like 3 kinds of ship, 1 kind of base, basically, yeah. So each one of these different colours will indicate, and you can actually filter them here as well. So you've got your hover vessels, small vessels, capital vessels, and bases. So let's get a small fuel tank. So what we need is 4 electronics, 4 metal components, and 3 cables. So if we go onto here and just basically select the items we need, it's going to need 4 of them. We're going to need 4 of the metal components, which I know those produce 2. So So it says output count now is 2, which is quite good. And then we need 3 cables. So now once this is done, it will give us the opportunity to build something else. Now notice decoration box is not filled in yet because I believe there's something else we can unlock with you know, constantly evolving the base and getting this large constructor. Here we go. Device for crafting, full range of templates available, normal crafting speed. So that gives us a full range of all the templates, so we can build pretty much everything with that, which is good. I accidentally just selected to build it then, but it's going to take an absolute heap of stuff to build, and it's going to be very expensive. But once we get that done, we should be fine. Let's turn that back on and build these last few cables, and then we can build the small fuel tank. That hum from the hydrogen generator, or the O2 generator, is so annoying. Has it produced anything yet? It's produced 2 O2 bottles, which isn't too bad. Not too bad at all. Whoa. It's some seriously beautiful landscape out here though. It does look very plain in areas because there's not a lot of trees, but certain areas, like around all these trees, are like cultivated with all the trees and stuff, which is quite nice. And then you'll find a lot of the animals hanging around by the trees and the water, and it's a very kind of a good place to start next to the water. You may find that you're moving away a bit more and having like an outpost for generating oxygen that you go to, and then probably having your base on top of a mountain or something. Be a bit crazy doing that, but it's a way of doing things. Now we've actually got our tank now, so what we're going to do is we'll place the tank up here, and that allows us now to produce some fuel cells. Now what we need here is, if we produce a few more fuel cells, we actually get 2 out of this again, so we'll get quite a few of these. That's used up quite a bit of promethium. It uses 10 pellets of promethium per fuel cell, so bearing in mind you're going to be producing these quite a lot, you are going to need a lot of promethium to continue this process. So one of the things you really need to get a hold of first is promethium with your drill, because once you use up all your drilling implements, you're then reliant upon the world to find more of these drill packs that you can no longer produce because you ran out of power, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, so there we go. So now we got some fuel cells. What we can do is we can drop these up in here, and this just basically allows us to scatter 1 in every one. Notice it goes blue when it's pretty much full. That is full to the brim now, but when you have a reactor, it will start, well, a generator, it will start to utilize those when power is required for, say, your assembler and things like that. So yeah, so that's basically the gist of starting out in this game, guys. There has been a lot of changes, and again, hopefully I'll be able to, you know, go and adventure and find out some more of these things. But hopefully next time I do a video on this, I'll have a bit more of this base built up for you guys to you know, to show you a bit more. So I think I'll actually call this part 1. Part 2 will be coming soon, I think. So if you guys have enjoyed this and have enjoyed Empyrion for how it's now looking, and you know, some of the new things that have been added and whatnot, I know you probably haven't seen a lot of them yet, but if you are enjoying the game so far, don't be afraid to go and check it out on Steam. It's a really, really cool game, to be honest. Now they're actually adding a lot more to it, and it's moved into the alpha stage. It's a very, very interesting game indeed. Something that could potentially rival Space Engineers, with the fact that you can take your ships and fly them out into space, and this had planets before Space Engineers, you know, fully optimized them and whatnot. So yeah, go and check it out. I would seriously recommend it. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please like, favorite, and of course subscribe for more, and I will see you guys later. Peace.